My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jan Faria and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Yes.
Take one. Well done.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paulini and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time.
Ready? Play.
Well, I went for a slightly shorter intro today. I thought as it's not a live match, we can just hit the ground running by mentioning the friends of the show and, of course, possible membership too, which is pinned in the live chat. In the meantime, I have 12 questions for Damien, but Damien, you'll be pleased to know they're quick fire, but I'm not sure if they are on a specialized subject of yours because I want to know the answers to these questions.
Most of them I know. I don't know.
Oh, well, wait. They're quite tricky.
Okay.
I got 12, okay?
Oh, so it's not, you don't have to list them. It's like more. Okay, never mind.
I see. Yeah. No. I got 7 out of 12. It's 12 questions, and I got 7, okay?
Ooh.
So here we go.
Score.
I think it's funny, you know, these quizzes.
I know this one. Because it's pretty wild that the guy had 30 goals.
Just give me a good. Okay, you've got it right. But just give me a second. At the end, you get like a teacher's review, and I think 7 out of 12 was like quite good.
Okay.
But yes, go on, tell me who this is. But you've got it right.
Kevin Phillips, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I got it right as well. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember more.
It's easy because it's like so wild, right? It's so unexpected that the guy would have 30 goals.
Yeah. Okay, I got this one right, I think. Yes, I did get it right. Because I know why I got it right.
Aye. This would be tough. I think maybe like one of the last seasons, so 18, 19, 19, 20, that could have been one of the ones where there were like 3 best scorers. But actually, that's the same for like 98 and 99. I'm actually going to go 97, 98, and 98, 99. But I don't, I'm semi-guessing. I think one of these is like the season where Dwight York was the winner and someone, I don't know. Yeah, let's do that. But yeah, that's what I was thinking with Dwight York, but that was a semi-guess.
My thinking was a bit more than semi-guess. It was more educated guess because I just knew 98, 99 was such a spread out season that, even the top 6 are not that far apart. And the player of the year, I think it was the PFA players of the year, the football writers of the player. Anyway, one of them was David Ginola, and Ferguson was annoyed because we did the treble basically 98, 99, and a guy who lifted the Carling Cup got but the football writers, I think it was, said, it's because the United players split the vote a lot. Anyway, okay, let's get on. Number 3. This is going to sound good on the podcast.
Yeah, that's just guessing. So he had 1 goal for Forest and then rest for Tottenham. How many did he have together? Let's say I'm going to go with the max answer, so 23. This is a total guess. Yeah.
I think I got this one wrong as well. Anyway, yep. So showing on 21. For
you'd have to know exactly how many goals he had there. So.
I remember the goal he scored for Forest. It was against Liverpool on basically the first ever Sky Sports televised football match of the Premier League. Okay, so before Henry won his first Golden Boot in 01-02, what was his highest tally of goals scored?
Obviously, this is another one where you just have, 25% chance. Let's go, because earlier the seasons that we had, like 97, 98, and etc., they had like 18, 19 goals. So let's go with 17.
I went 17, and I think it's wrong. No, it's right. I went 17, and my guess was 26%, right? But I just thought it's probably going to be one of the sort of ones you don't expect. They're going to... Because this is probably written by...
Because earlier we had that question about like 18 and 19 goals, being the most I was like, maybe it's below that, but yeah, I still think it was a 25% chance.
Actually, I can tell you these are not, or at least they weren't written by a human, because I can tell you now, I've written one of these. I've written one of these for the Guardian when I was doing work experience there 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I did one. I'll look it up, but I can't remember. It was, I think, FA Cup, maybe FA Cup third round, something like that.
I didn't go to any match from the Euros. I've never seen like the Polish team play or something like that. No.
Oh, there's a random question. Okay.
I mean, no. This has to be just, I don't know which season it is, but it's like Salah, Mane, and Aubameyang, but I don't know which season it is. Let's say it's 18-19, but it could be 19-20 as well. I don't know which one. Let's go 18-19, but I'm not sure. 18-19 would be when Liverpool. Yeah, I think it's 18-19.
I got this one right. Okay. Yeah, because I went big on the Liverpool sort of doing well in the Premier League. Blah blah blah.
I just wasn't sure which one, but yeah, 19 would have been a good season for Liverpool.
They won it in 19. Liverpool won it in 19. Probably COVID year, I think. I'm very. How many? We've done 5 so far. I think Nerland would get 0 out of 5. Right. Anyway, Berbatov is the only Bulgarian to have been top scorer in the league. By the way, people are tuning in now going, what the hell is this all about? Anyway, Berbatov is the only Bulgarian to have been top scorer in the league. What season did he score 20? Again, I got this one right. I think I dipped near the end.
It's easier for you. It's easier for you because I think it's for United, not for Tottenham. So, yeah, it's either 09 or 9-10, I think. 09 would have been still with Ronaldo, but Ronaldo was the top scorer in 7-8, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. Let's go 9-10. It could be 09 though. 8-9 could be.
I actually got this one wrong, and it's I should have got it right, but I got it wrong, and you got it wrong as well. I went for the year before. I went 07-08, which is the year before he joined United.
But I think
knew it was
7-8
09.
Isn't 7-8 isn't the one where Ronaldo scored 31?
He scored a lot. Yeah, he scored 42 in all competitions and probably
31 in one season for sure. And I think it was, well, it was definitely either 7-8 or 8-9, obviously. But yeah, I wouldn't have gone
7-8 was his big one. 7-8 was his big one.
I think so as well. That's why I didn't go for it. But yeah, 10-11 I wouldn't have gone.
You can read all about that 7-08 season in Even the Defeats, and including the intro, or whatever you call it. What's the foreword? The foreword written by René Moulenstein, no less, and he gave me some great insights in the book and also a part of the foreword about how he helped transform Ronaldo during the autumn of 07 into propelling him into one of the world's best players, if not the best player in the world at that time. Okay, number 7, who's the only Leeds player to become top scorer? I got this one right.
I think that's easy. I think that's Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. But I mean, Viduka or Bamford, they were never the top scorer for in any club. So I don't think Cantona was either. But Cantona at least played for Leeds and could have been close. Yeah, it's Hasselbank for sure. Yeah.
For me, it was quite easy because I knew Hasselbank was pretty prolific wherever he went. Cantona actually bookended bookended one season, end of one season and beginning of the next. He never played a complete season at Leeds, barely even half a season. So that was quite obvious.
I didn't know that. I knew he came from Leeds to United, but I didn't know he.
Yeah, and he was before the transfer window, so he joined in November.
Okay,
he was there kind of a calendar year. He was basically the calendar year of 92, I think it was. Bamford was there when they got relegated, so I was pretty optimistic it wasn't him. Viduka was good, but never prolific. Oh, by the way, I think I asked this question to Eddie off air, and he went Viduka, but yeah, he got it wrong. How many goals did Sergio Aguero score in his only season as top scorer?
Again, this is just guessing. I'm going to say it's not one of the top 2. Let's go 26.
Oh, good. I think I went 28 and got it wrong. By the way, we're hemorrhaging.
I didn't think he scored that many, but yeah, this was still 25%. I mean, this has to be easy, right? This is just Van Persie.
I got this one right. I can tell you now, Hernandez has never.
I mean, Rooney was never right. Rooney never got a golden boot.
Might have been the year after Ronaldo left.
I think Rooney never got a golden boot. It's actually like a stat that surprises people. I think. So it's gotta be RPP. Yeah.
I think I got one right. I know I got 7 out of 12. I know I keep saying
that. I have to think about. I mean, who is coming to mind? Like Jor, Elano. I don't think they ever were that good. Brazilians. I mean, honestly, just like straight up, I was tempted to just go 0. That's what I'm gonna say. I think I still might, but I'm just trying to think of somebody basically. There was also, oh Jesus, who did I just have in my mind? There was somebody. Obviously, it's not like Willian or someone like that. There was somebody though who I think might have come close. Oh, like Firmino could have been close.
Kleberson.
Yeah, Kleberson for sure. Gilberto Silva. Honestly, let's just not waste too much time on this. I'm just gonna go 0 without like thinking too much.
I think I went 0 as well and got it right. I did because I remember the answer. Yeah, or the Robinho coming.
No one was ever close. I mean, as we can see, right? Ranking 4th.
Brazilians tend to go to Spain, Italy.
Again, if I counted, I could probably get it right. But do we want to do that? Probably not. I'm just gonna assume it's not Tottenham. Liverpool. I mean, do they count separately? So like Salah and Mane in the same year? I don't know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna go. I don't know. Let's just say Arsenal. I don't know. Let's just not count it. Henry was there like 3 times. RVP got 1. I don't know.
I think I said Liverpool and got it. Oh, I probably got it right if I said Liverpool. Okay. Maybe I said Arsenal. You know, whatever I did.
So they do count, by the way, Salah and Mane separately. I mean, RVP for sure.
You think RVP got it for Arsenal? Yeah. Does it say actually? No, it doesn't. You think he got it? He might well have done. Yeah, I think he did. I think he did.
I know he got it consecutively. He got it for Arsenal, then he switched to United, and he got it for sure. Right. I'm just thinking if there's anyone else. Oh, actually, did Shearer do it in Blackburn and Newcastle? I think he might have. So I'm going to say Hasselbank wasn't consecutive, but Shearer was. So I'm going to go 2.
Let's have a look. It'll also tell us who.
Could be Sheringham as well, but I don't know.
Shearer and Van
Persie. Yeah, good.
Nice. Okay. 9 out of 12. So for those of you wondering if Damien spends too much time watching tennis, well, perhaps he used to watch too much football, but that was sort of 10 or 15 years ago, which this quiz was largely about. So there we go.
That's 9, exactly. If honestly, I don't know who was the top scorer last year, like unless it was Haaland.
Yeah. 9-7 in the 5th. Has there been a tennis match with a 9-7 in the 5th scoreline of particular note? Homework for those watching.
I think there's a Twitter account even that
there is called
9-7 in the 5th. Yeah.
I don't see it on my timeline so much anymore. So maybe they are not posting.
It was like a big fan of one player though, and that player I don't think is competing anymore, right? So maybe that's why.
Are they not a fan of? Yeah, they're a fan of Rafa, I guess.
Yeah.
Did I plug my mic in? Yes, I did. Okay, cool. Let's get on then with tennis. We've spent just over 10 minutes doing football quiz. And Nurlan is saying, dude, stop that quiz right now. I don't have that much time to stay around. He's probably gone already. And yes, I was aware that Trent was going to Real. I think somebody mentioned in the live chat yesterday. Okay, shall we start with the hipster's choice? And you know what the hipster's choice is, Damien. Don't pretend you don't. Machac Mensik.
That's a hipster's choice? I mean, I guess.
Yeah. Would you think that's
mainstream? Yeah, I wasn't sure what you were going to go for because, like, the hipster's choice, one player would be Walton. But he's playing, so that doesn't fully count. But yeah, Mensik-Machac are kind of going mainstream. And, it's great. We mentioned that last
time. It's their last time in the hipster circle.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, we mentioned that yesterday that it's like a big, I guess, conversation to be had right now. Who's going to be the best Czech at the end of the season? Of course, Mensik is the youngest, probably the one who's going to be developing the quickest. They just played in Acapulco. It was pretty fun. I think should be a bit closer, right? I mean, Mensik has been his serving has been godlike this week. And if he can keep it up, why not? And Thomas Machac is a top 10 player according to ELO ratings. The only good ratings ever.
There was a thing on Twitter I saw today, which was kind of funny, and I got the message. It was just one of those sort of memes with people going nuts about João Fonseca's run to the last 32, and there's like somebody just very calmly walking to the round of 16, and that's Jakub Mensik. Do you get it? Do you agree with the meme? Where are you on this whole, are we going to, well, I think I know where you are on, are we going too mad on Fonseca? I think you're pretty much, no, we're not going too mad on him, but maybe we're not going mad enough on Mensik. I say we, the tennis community.
Let me think. So like in that 2004, 2006 generation, who's like at the top right now, I guess Mensik-Fils, Fonseca, somewhere right behind them, it's Lerner. So I think he's part of the conversation for sure. Maybe the beginning of the season made people kind of forget about him and how well he was developing, but you know, the win over Draper, regardless of Jack switching from Indian Wells, yeah, again, the way that he was just like unplayable in these tie breaks. I think that's obviously there's still like a pretty raw version of Mensik's game, the one that we're watching right now. But yeah, I mean, he's just 19, right? I mean, he's gonna be still progressing at an insanely rapid pace, and I think he's definitely a player for like, you know, the future. He's going to be among the top at the very least. After that, we'll see. I get the fact that he's not getting the same hype as Fonseca. I don't think he should be, but he definitely should be just like in the conversation. And maybe for the first 2 months of the season, maybe sometimes he was overlooked a bit too much. But also he contributed to that. Like Australia, for example, right? The match points he had against Davidovich Fokina, like how different is that story there if that doesn't happen? And it was the same in the US Open, right? He has match points against Borges and he's a round further. Maybe he's even 2 rounds further. And then we have a completely different conversation on our hands.
Is it because...
And he also has this thing like... who did I mention? Actually, Draper, yeah, is a good comparison because I think both of them maybe won't have the same upside as some of the other peers, but like they can be very consistent. They really don't have to be that unreliable as someone like Fonseca, I guess, or Fils especially always will be.
But in terms of your ranking, because the rankings of pretty much kind of don't lie in this respect, you know, you are where you are. So he's obviously 54, and I think, or at least before this tournament, he's 54, and Fonseca is 60, so they're very similar. But you're almost better in terms of being all or nothing, not just in terms of a point or a game, but also a tournament. So you're better off winning a 250 1 week and then going out in the first round of Indian Wells the next, in terms of our awareness as well.
Yeah, awareness, ranking. I mean, obviously in tennis, ranking points, you know, they scale up with every single round. So yeah, it's actually better to peak, let's say, 5 times a year than kind of just be solid all year round. But of course, I mean, Mensik also has an incredible peak level. And this week so far has been showing that. So should be a very exciting clash. I think it's closer, definitely. In Acapulco, I actually believe that maybe the courts weren't going to be that amazing for Machac, but then he just kind of like played the best tennis of his career in these conditions, even though it was, you know, all these late matches in the evening, because that's how they always schedule. But no, he was actually fine there. And probably his toughest match, well, maybe Nakashima on the way to the title, was Mensik.
And so tell us about sort of a dynamic that we can expect in this match. I mean, you mentioned Mensik's serve. Has that always been sort of top level, or is it something that it's evolved in the last year or two as he's got a bit older? And where can Machac hurt Mensik?
I mean, Mensik has a pretty rough like forehand. Technically, it's definitely like prone to rushing. It can just spray errors because he overcomplicates it a bit. Somewhat like, let's say, Rune. He's just gonna have days when things aren't clicking on that wing, when he's not quite connecting. So Machac obviously is a player who loves rushing the opponent. Like that's where he's gonna be headed for the most part. Otherwise, Mensik is, of course, very strong, like athletically, and can definitely just produce a lot of defensive gets. Serving was always good, though, yeah. I mean, in the juniors, I just remember thinking of him as like a more aggressive Hubert Hurkacz, which he still, I guess, kind of fits that comparison. They defend pretty similarly, and like, yeah, it's a big serve, but after that, there's also firepower coming off the ground, which is what the pole lacks. So yeah, I think the serve was there always, but since more or less the next gen finals, there's been some sort of a spike nonetheless. Like the next gen finals, of course, it wasn't a great event for Mensik in any way, but he was hitting like 20 plus aces in some of these matches, and that's kind of remained this season. So I do think it's, you know, improved from an already great standpoint, and I see that there are some stats here.
Yeah. So 9 point. This is Tennis Insights. 9.3 is his serve.
Oh yeah, the
rate.
Draper match. Yeah, that was insane.
Okay, the Draper match. Yeah, exactly. Is that right? He got 100%. So he didn't double fault, I guess, the whole match because he got 100% of his second serves in. It seems 66% first serves in. That's pretty good as well. And yeah, that was sort of the match where I think a lot of people 21 aces. I know we don't need to take too much stock from that, but yeah. So that's from the Draper match, which was a couple of rounds ago.
I think worth mentioning is also that in the first set tiebreak, he played 5 points on serve, and 4 of them were aces, and the other was an unreturned serve. So I think across the 2 tiebreaks, he played 10 points on serve, and 6 were aces. So like there's almost no way to win a tiebreak against someone serving like that.
He also beat, of course, Safiullin in the last round. Again, it's a sort of a match that pretty much probably went under most people's radar. It was yesterday when it was the same day in Miami, at least, when there was lots of other things going on, Badossa's withdrawal. And actually somebody sent me a message saying, wow, what a day in Miami. Or I saw it on Twitter or something. And I was, of all the things I was thinking of when they said, wow, what a day in Miami, I wasn't thinking of Mensik straight sets win over Safiullin.
Yeah, I think because it went like this comfortably too, like nobody really paid that much attention to it. I remember someone texting me whether I'm watching it, and I just said, I mean, if there's like a tight finish, I probably will tune in.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Mensik won this so easily, so I didn't actually get to see any of Safiullin Mensik last night. But well, now we get a matchup that I definitely will be wanting to watch.
Machac beating Arnaldi and Opelka en route to the round of 16. The Opelka was funny because somebody in the live chat yesterday was saying, how wild would it be if Opelka reaches the semis or even the final in Miami? And looking at the draw, it was like we started to talk ourselves into the possibility. While we were talking ourselves into the possibility, he was then down a break. And I think he was down Opelka was down a break in the first set. Then I think he got it back on serve. And then he was back down a break in the second set, and he never recovered, I think. So that's quite impressive that Machac can break Opelka, I think, 3 times in that match, as well as
twice.
I was twice.
But yeah, honestly, Opelka was a total mess. In the second set, oh no, maybe last game was a breakthrough. I don't know, maybe 3. Anyway, yeah. Opelka was gifting a lot of that away. Like there was a game when he hits like 2 consecutive double faults to get broken, and there was one too where simply like the +1 forehand is horrible. Machac is a great returner, of course, but he's like so close to the baseline. Opelka's serve is a bit too big for him, but still he wins the match. But yeah, definitely wasn't one of the best like baseline days from Riley, unlike the match against Rune. But still, that's a very tough draw, I think, to make the 4th round. Opelka and Arnaldi, both super dangerous, and they're actually going to contribute positively to his already amazing ELO rating.
Plenty of promotion there for the ELO ratings today, and somewhat justified. Okay. Is this the hardest? I mean, I'm just looking at the round 4s. There's so many of them. We're not going to do the 2 we previewed yesterday. They are out there. So I think it's Djokovic against Musetti and Berrettini against de Minaur. We've already done those. So if you're keen to listen or watch those, then tune in to our videos and you'll find it amongst those. But anyway, is this the hardest one to call? I'm just looking down the list. I think I've got a pretty firm favorite. I think I've got a firm favorite in most or all. One is actually down to physicality. Actually, the next one we're going to go to, I think, is a bit tricky. My point is this: it's bloody tight, this one, right, to call. Doesn't mean the result will be tight.
According to the odds, it's the only flip of the day.
Oh, so it is a flip. Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah. I think there was one more match that was a flip originally, but now it's shifted. But yeah, according to the odds right now, it's the only flip.
Okay. Will you remember which one has shifted when we get to it?
Uh-huh.
It might be the next one we do, but just try and remember. Or maybe I'll try and remember to ask you at the beginning of every preview. Anyway, regarding this flip, Acapulco's slow, right? Normally.
Yeah, and they also play like really late in the evening.
So the conditions and the time and the obviously different court surface and everything else in Miami, that would swing the pendulum a little bit in Mensik's favor?
I think it's more the Mensik form this week because like in terms of the courts, Machac is obviously good for on anything, which is like pretty quick, like Miami. So I think it's more just the fact that he's been playing this well this week, and honestly, only the Draper win because, as you said, the Safiullin one, the Bautista Agut one. I mean, I don't think many people paid attention to that, so I think it's just mostly the Draper win influencing that.
There was something else as well. What about, are they friends? And I'm thinking about the mental side of it now as well. Is Mensik still learning to become mentally tough?
I mean, definitely. Are they friends? Not sure. I mean, in terms of the juniors, they wouldn't be playing next, much with each other, obviously. But they've been part of the same Davis Cup team a few times now. So I think they definitely have some sort of a relationship. But yeah, I mean, it's not like they were obviously competing next to each other in the juniors, as they are 5 years apart, or maybe even 6, 5. I don't know, 5 or 6.
Yeah. All right. So if it's a flip in the bookmakers' eyes, and probably ours too, is there a 51-49? Is it Mensik just because of his slightly better sort of looking results, particularly that Draper performance this week?
I'm kind of tempted to say it might be Mensik's time, but yeah, I don't know. It's really tough. I did think that Acapulco match was going to be pretty close, which I think at the time the Mensik form was definitely just like dipping and wasn't really the expectation.
It was close. I mean,
it was good. It was close. I think there was also some sort of a physical dip that Mensik had in the third. But yeah, I mean, it's very tough to say here. Just tempting to me to say that Mensik is maybe the slight favorite. Just, I don't know, for no reason at all other than him being amazing this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna, but it's I'm really pretty much guessing. But if somebody's gonna force me into a corner and beat me down by watching this video, sometimes people watch the videos hours after the match has finished and just wanna brutalize. I mean, I think there was people, Iala Keys, there was a lot of reaction to that.
Yes, I had a couple of DMs in my on my Twitter
really?
even. Yeah. Someone has been like texting me regularly. Let's say one text a month, and basically saying something that like, "Oh, you were completely wrong on that. You should stop just saying anything or whatever." And like, it's a match between Ala and Keys where Ala was a 9-1 underdog or something like that. Like, clearly the person is betting because that's like something that you can basically guess from their tweets. So like, if you're betting on a match like this, I mean, I think that means you should have a problem. So,
we're going to do Dimitrov Nakashima next, but just before we do, I'm going to create a poll, and I get 4 options for this poll as the maximum I can do. The fourth one will be other, basically. So therefore, who are the 3 must-haves in this poll? I've got 2, to be honest, I've got 2 must-haves, which are Zverev and Fritz. Who would be the third sort of person to add for the men's Masters title? Would it be Cerundolo?
Wait, what is the poll exactly?
So it's who's winning the ATP Miami Masters? Zverev, Fritz, other.
I think you have to add either Novak or Deminor.
Oh, of course, Djokovic. I'm forgetting the players from yes. Oh, that I've not got. And of course, I'm adding Djokovic now. I because we're not reviewing Djokovic's match now that I've not got him in my head. Yeah, okay, that's easy then. So Zverev, Fritz, Djokovic, or other. Perfect. That's out there, so do get voting on that. I'll try and remember to consult it. The flip match, was it Nakashima, Dimitrov?
No.
Okay. All right.
Grigor is priced as like a pretty sizable favorite there. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, he definitely has that nice neutralizing slice, and he's done so well over the past 2 years. But recently, all the injuries. I think when I was on the stream, I didn't watch his match against Khachanov, only saw against China. And while he played there, of course, it was like an hour and 10 minutes. And someone in the chat mentioned that against Khachanov, he was like wincing or stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I can't say if there's any merit to this. If he is fit, I guess I like his chances. But yeah, it's not that obvious. I don't think we should just like give this to Dimitrov. I definitely think that Nakashima's had a very easy path to the 4th round and hasn't really had to show anything special. But it's not a guarantee that he will have to in this one.
Yeah, Dimitrov seems to be a bit more fragile again this year, and maybe even last physically. I mean, beating Khachanov. China, of course, actually, I think we watched that in the first round, didn't we? Or at least I watched the first set and a half, I think, before dashing off and coming back, and Dimitrov got the job done. So maybe even Dimitrov's run. I mean, Khachanov's unusual form, I would say, and also his fitness over the last year or so, because he was pretty rock solid in 22, 23, but that sort of fell off in 24. So even that is not mega impressive in terms of the run. What about Nakashima? You said he's had an easy run. I want to have a quick look.
Grigor also has a very good record against Khachanov. Khachanov basically loses to all these slice bots all the time, like Evans, Dimitrov, and the likes. Nakashima has defeated Goffin and Carballes Baena.
Yeah.
Of course, he's the kind of like the benefactor of the fact that Carlos Alcaraz lost to David Goffin. And were they amazing performances? Not really. Nick Kyrgios actually posted a tweet that Brandon is like the most underrated player on tour. I mean, I think Brandon is pretty accurately rated. That's what I'm gonna say. I don't think he's either overrated or underrated. He's solid. He's back there. He's back after a period of struggle, of course. But is he like a big title, semi-final contender? Not buying it.
He also tweeted about Raducanu and something like, why is no one talking about her doing well? They only talk about when she's doing badly. He's obviously not reading the same press that I read, certainly, of course, coming from the UK. But actually, I do generally read a lot of international stuff. But, of course, there's a lot of British journalists on my timeline, too. So I'm getting as much, if not more, Raducanu stuff. I also saw something, and I'm going off a tangent here. Tim Henmans was asked, post-match yesterday about, what's Raducanu doing well this week? I would say I watched the whole 3.5 minute clip. It was 2.5 minutes of someone who's worked in the media for a long time and basically said nothing. I think he started with, and I knew it was going to be a tricky question for him, and maybe it's a tricky question for everyone. But he started, well, it's a results-based business. It was almost like one of these parody things that you see. I see them on social media, but more so in football than tennis, where it's just loads of bluff. Like Tough Place to Go is there's a Twitter account called Brian's Gun, and it's really funny where they just will catch up, Tough Place to Go, or it's a derby, so anyone will win, or form goes out the window. All of these expressions that then people use when they don't really know what to say. And it was a perfect example of that. Tangent, tick, done. Dimitrov, Nakashima. For me, partly because I don't think we can read anything into their runs. I'm worried about Dimitrov physically. Yeah, I'm going to go Nakashima. Especially if I'm not a betting person, but if you're right and that Dimitrov is somewhere around being a warm favorite, I would therefore go Nakashima.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to say Grigor, but the physicality aspect, I can't fully comment on that because, again, I didn't see whatever the person in the chat was mentioning against Karen. Their head-to-head is way back. It doesn't really mean much, yeah.
I mean, 2022, it's borderline way back.
Yeah, but Grigor had a big resurgence in 23 and 24.
Yeah, and one of them, the one coming on outdoor hard, was a straight sets win for Nakashima at the US Open round of 64. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to go Nakashima. Okay, next on our list can be, let's go for Monfils-Korda. Again, to be honest with you, this is also a physical situation that I'd love to know where they're at physically. They've played once before at Monfils, winning that one early on. Oh, just last month.
2 weeks ago, yeah. 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's the second time I've done that of late. I couldn't remember. I don't remember what the match was, but it was have they played before? And it was yeah, they played 2 weeks ago. Anyway, Monfils-Korda, Monfils winning that one in very tight one, 7-6, 7-6. What are your thoughts on the matchup at the very least, anyway?
Having watched Korda beat Tsitsipas, I'm kind of back on the hype train.
Yeah.
I'm ready to fall off, but I mean, I'm also back on the hype train for the time being. I think that Korda recently, of course, he was struggling with that injury, post-US Open, surgery and stuff. He comes back. He again has issues in the Adelaide final. And he couldn't really ever get going. He couldn't find enough match rhythm because he was losing everywhere. Monfils in the second round in Indian Wells, that's tough. Korda, of course, still has a seeded position because of that Washington title, but it's not like he's been putting in results like this recently. So I don't think it was actually like helping him that he had to play someone pretty good right away. But now that he's gotten some good matches in, yeah, I'm kind of back on the hype train. I think that the courts obviously suit him very well. He will be attacking, I hope, and not get so tentative as against Tsitsipas in the latter part of the first set. Still, nonetheless, it was one of his best performances I've seen in a while, definitely since the surgery. And yeah, I'm back. I'm riding the wave.
Yeah, no, and I understand that, and I think if it is a physical thing, I'm pretty optimistic as to which way that would probably go right now, unless it's just an outright injury that one player gets on the other. But I'll come to that in a second. Just going back to sort of feeling comfortable about my predictions, I'm probably getting gradually easier now. The first two were probably so I'm very surprised that there's a flip, and it's not this one, is it?
No.
Is it?
Korda
No,
is the favorite here.
Yeah, and I'm going Korda.
Yeah, sure. I mean, despite their Indian Wells match, I can't disagree.
Yeah. Oakley Dokley. So that brings us to Casper Ruud. Is this the flip one? Casper Ruud, Frans Sorundolo?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're getting easier and easier, so I can't believe that the flip one would be Walton Fritz, for example. Okay,
sorry,
so
Adam, you're gonna get a lot of this today.
Yeah. So this one is 3 and 4, so that would kind of suggest flippiness. But actually, as I say, I feel apart from Dimitrov Nakashima and the first one we did, Machac Mensik, those two were sort of flip-like for me. But now I'm getting more comfortable in my predictions. Fran winning 4 and 3 this head-to-head. Let's have a quick look at that, and the last one coming at the Laver. So I think we've spoke about this before, but I don't remember your answer. Do you think Laver Cup should count in head-to-heads?
I mean, the match tiebreak is a bit of a problem because in singles we never really get much tiebreaks, right? Other than maybe, let's say, ITF qualifying, and also whenever there's like a really stacked, like the schedule is really backed up at an ITF. So I think because of the match tiebreak, no. If it was a regular third set, I would say yes. They definitely shouldn't be counted retroactively, though. So like the Nadal, whatever it is, Isner win, right? Like that no, that shouldn't be.
No, because that's really weird. Because Nadal and Isner would have gone into that match thinking it's not counting and it's a sort of exhibition-y. And now you're supposed to.
I'm sure Rafa doesn't care if he has a loss against Isner or not. Like, or
but we should have included that. We should have included a point from that one in the. Rafa
not like that, right? I mean, we can't suddenly just decide that the Netflix slam now counts as a match. I mean,
okay. Anyway, but as far as the ATP website is concerned, they do include it in their head-to-heads. They've played quite a bit in a fairly condensed period of time, but not since the Laver Cup. So they're 7 matches all coming in a 2 and a bit year frame, including a one in Miami, by the way, the semi-final, which I think I was reminded about that yesterday, and I'm being reminded again. So they've had 1, 2, 3 on hard of some kind. Of course, we've got indoor and outdoor hard. And then the other 4 coming on clay. Interestingly, actually, Sorundolo has won 2-1 on, no, 2-2 on clay, 2-2 on clay, and 2-1 on the hard. Difficult to read too much into those because of the distance to the Miami one, the Laver Cup one being the most recent one. So, yeah, 4-3 does feel pretty even. But I do feel pretty confident about swinging one way or the other on this one.
If I was to guess, I would say maybe you want Cerundolo. I mean,
yeah.
You know, Casper is like a little more reliable. I guess still like form of the day is the most important. Casper was serving incredibly well against Kecmanovic when I suddenly started watching that. I know that he was like almost out of the event and almost out of the Sunshine Double. But the last set, I was super impressed. And that was like the aggressive version of his game that we want to watch. Against Tabilo, I didn't see it, but I saw Oleg, who is a pretty big fan of Casper, saying that the serve was amazing there too. I think he like caps locked serve in his tweet, which just reminded me of that Kecmanovic match, obviously. But Cerundolo has been in amazing shape this year. I mean, the consistency to like win 2 matches at least in 6 consecutive events, that's something he hasn't had before. And yeah, maybe I'm buying into the fact that like if he plays well, he might be just like dominating of the ground here. He might just have like the stronger 2 shots in these conditions. But of course, Miami 2022, Casper beat him. I guess for Fran, it's like this event has always been good for whatever reason too. To me, it's much more tricky. Like I definitely agree with this being a bit more flippy. Cerundolo is maybe in slightly better shape right now, but do I actually trust him to like keep it up? Not sure.
Casper Ruud also must love the tennis courts and playing tennis in Miami, if not so much the conditions. And let me explain what I mean. Because it was this time last year when he was heard very politely talking to the umpire, saying this place sucks, something to do with the towels and the water and that. As much of a rant as Casper could possibly have. In there was loads of pleases, thank you, sorries. I know it's not your faults, by the way. But anyway, he seems very comfortable here along with Fran Cerundolo. I don't remember that Cerundolo run to a quick hard court semi-final. But hats off to him for that in 2022, although it was Casper who prevented him in his run. But yeah, I'm just looking at sort of slightly bigger picture. I'm also probably feeding off Mario's very giddy vibes from his win over Tommy Paul. And I know Mario is a fan of Tommy's as well. But yeah, I think that if I look at Casper Ruud's very up and down, and one of his ups was Dallas. So does that even count as an up? And he didn't win the title, by the way, of course. But yeah. So, yeah, I think Casper would be normally booking his flights to Estoril right now. And not that you can land in Estoril, but you know what I mean. Sadly, of course, Estoril has been postponed to a little bit later on in the season. But if he goes out early in Madrid, no, he's not going to go.
He would have to be outside the top 10. So only if he has a horrible clay swing, really. That becomes a possibility. Yeah. By the way, Nurlan, when it comes to the conditions in Antarctica, I mean, typically, the colder it is, the slower it is, really. But also, you have to factor in the altitude. I think that like the peak of Antarctica is also like over 5,000. So depends where you would place the courts. But yeah, typically, like if it's fast, if it's sunny, the courts will be playing pretty quick. I mean, sorry, if it's hot, if it's sunny is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. Colder Indian Wells, certainly. The only thing is, though, you'd think that Rafa would, if in terms of this. Oh, you're talking about hard courts here, because I always remember Rafa enjoying Roland Garros in the day, maybe slightly.
Yeah,
more than
but that's like clay, he would be fine anywhere, and yeah.
The
bounce would be more lively, I guess, in most examples when it's fast, when it's hot.
True. Okay, so I think that's Ruud, Fran done. Taylor Fritz, Walton. I don't know if there's much to say about this other than, I mean, let's just talk about Walton's incredible run, particularly as there will be 1 or 2 people not knowing exactly what makes his run. The most special element of his run is the fact that what did he do in the last round of qualifying?
He lost to Tristan Skulkate in a match that was, it looks like a 6-3, 6-4. Maybe it doesn't look that bad, but I think Tristan was even like 5-2 up double break in the second set. Was a pretty rough defeat. And then he waits around. He gets into the draw after Hubert Hurkacz withdraws, which, by the way, I think might have been the only withdrawal. So I don't think he was like, if it's not Hurkacz, it would have been someone else. And Adam Walton indeed defeated Darderian Wong, which to make a Miami round 4 is absolutely insane. Before this week, Adam Walton was 4-17 on the main tour. And his game just hasn't really been like holding up too well. He's been dominant in all the Asian, Australian, sometimes American challengers. Super solid, pretty good serve, but yeah, he is pretty passive off the ground. Doesn't really have like the most natural attacking game. And this is kind of the problem as well for me against Taylor, because Taylor also serves well and is consistent, right? But also does it with like so much more pace on both wings. So how does Walton beat someone like that? I don't really know.
No, I don't know. But he's there, and that's good for him. But yes, getting the lucky loser slot, and the lucky loser or the injury coming for Hobie Hurkacz, a seed was very beneficial. He's taken advantage of that. But as you say, Darderi and Wong maybe was also a pretty kind draw. So all these stars have been aligning, but I think he's going to need a lot more than just stars aligning. He's going to have to need some sort of earthquake, both in terms of the reverberations around the world from him beating Taylor Fritz, but maybe even during the match, perhaps some sort of disruption to Taylor's rhythm. And so what do you know what the odds are on this one? Is this the one? Did you say like 9? Or was that that was Yala Madison Keys?
Yeah, I think I was talking about the Yala Keys, but it could be pretty similar here. Probably not quite as lopsided, but somewhat similar.
Actually, do you not think so? Do you not think that Walton beating Fritz would be as remarkable?
I think it would be a bigger upset because Madison is just, well, an all or nothing player, much more than Taylor is.
Exactly, yeah. So for me, this would be, in tennis terms at least, maybe not in terms of people going wild on the internet, but yeah, I think this would be a big upset. So therefore, I just can't see anything other than a Taylor win, and I guess you could interpret that as a straight sets prediction. Okay, next on my list, in fact, is it the last one? I think it might be Zverev-Fils. Zverev-Fils. By the way, let's have a quick look at the poll. We only got 4 votes so far, but no one's voting for Taylor Fritz to win it. And 50% have gone for other. I wonder who that other is. So there's Zverev, Fritz, and Djokovic, and 50% have gone for other. Are they going for de Minaur? Are they going for Berrettini? Are they going for Fils?
Adam Walton.
Adam Walton. Who knows? Let us know in the live chat if you do think that one of Zverev, Fritz, and Djokovic are not winning it. Anyway, yeah, Zverev, Fils. So Fils won this remarkable match yesterday against Tiafoe, which I thought had a lot of ingredients to be a great match. Don't think it'll end up being in the conversation for matches of the year, but probably matches of Miami. Certainly, it can get more than a mention. And I enjoyed it immensely. There was a lot of tantrums. I think there was a wry smile towards the end of the match when there was a racket smash from Tiafoe, because, of course, Fils had just done the same like 45 minutes before. When Fils did it, though, it was at the end of the second set, and I thought, okay, this is a reset. He then had a fairly calm conversation with his team, and, you just thought, okay. And I did think, even though he was down at times in the first set, that Fils was the better player pretty much throughout. I know he was a bit wayward at times, as only he can be. But, yeah, the expression on his racket, that's what it felt like for me.
I mean, I would love to be more excited about this clash. I think it obviously has some good history too. When you actually started saying something about an amazing match, I was thinking you were going to reference Hamburg already.
I see. Yes,
31
yeah.
Final that was, of course, included as part of our top 5 for 2024, and I think absolutely rightfully so. I think it was like number 2 for me personally. And yeah, I'd love to see another big clash between them. I just don't know if after yesterday I have that much faith in Arthur's holding up. Obviously, he's going to need so much like discipline and patience in this matchup. And I'm not positive that he can do it here after struggling so much and cramping in the third set. Zverev, I honestly haven't followed his run too much because, well, he hasn't been a pleasure to watch recently, if ever. And
we know about the tennis insight, though. We know about the tennis insight.
The 9-9-26 against Burnley. Yeah. I mean, these were like prime examples of matches where if they got close, I would have tuned in, but they didn't. And
but at least 3 of their 4 matches have gone to 3 sets, which, given the physical travails that Fils had at times yesterday, I think it was in the 3rd set, actually, although he ends up prevailing, wouldn't necessarily be good news for Artur, but it is also even more difficult to imagine a straight sets win over Zverev. I just think with Zverev as well that, maybe he wasn't entirely happy through when spells in South America, particularly in Argentina and the crowd. But it also was, I think, Fran Salundolo who he lost there. I mean, that's a really tough match for most players on the tour in Argentina on clay.
It's not about losing; it's about how you look while losing, right? And I think in South America, it was pretty clear that he just kind of didn't care all that much. Like the first set against Cerundolo, the last game against Comesaña, he's like half tanking it. But Acapulco was a bit different to that, right? And then also Indian Wells, yes, Talon Kriegspor, amazing form, great player. But at the same time, you kind of just have to think like, okay, so he's so passive in the third set there. Clearly, the confidence isn't really there at the moment.
But the draw sort of, at least long term, was opening up with the falling of Alcaraz and Medvedev and one or two others that perhaps I think that might have just given him the motivation to get that mojo back. And yeah, I'm just wondering is that who's also lies elsewhere on the horizons for Zverev, at least until the final. This is round 4. What's the draw? I should open that up in terms of potential quarterfinals.
Fils is already the forefront. So Mensik, yeah, Mensik is the quarterfinal potentially. Tricky. It's difficult, and then obviously Fritz Walton or Berrettini de Minor. So I don't think he's going to have an easy round from here.
I said, but it's not Djokovic, it's not Alcaraz, it's not Medvedev, it's not who else.
Presently on the ATP tour, I think it really doesn't make a big difference if it's Machac, Mensik, or Medvedev or.
Okay,
yeah.
I think he beats Machac.
Maybe he'll play Mensik.
Well, exactly. Yes, that may be different. And by the way, I'm not saying he doesn't beat Mensik as well. I probably would predict him to win that one too. But I just think it would be a little bit more random than Machac. And he beats Walton as well. And he de Minor, he beats de Minor as well. He beats de Minor. He beat him on. Yeah, he beats de Minor, I think. Fritz, oh, of course. Fritz. There was the Scott Barkley tweet, and he's pretty legendary when it comes to those. But what was it? Something about 2025 predictions. Djokovic will have a rant at his box, and Alcaraz will spectacularly win one tournament and spectacularly lose the next, and Taylor Fritz will beat Alexander Zverev or something like that. Was his 2025 prediction. So,
oh yeah, because of their matchup. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I'm quite keen for that because. I'm also keen for that because I actually think that we might be being deceived by that matchup. But I've said that before regarding Swiatek and Ostapenko, so I need to tread carefully. But rewind
what does
the
it
clock.
mean being deceived by what? I mean, Fritz bores Zverev to death, and that's something that usually Zverev does. Doesn't mean that he can't win, like literally by increasing his level by 1% in the next match. Because that's what the ATP finals was like, right? I mean, literally, I don't know, a couple of better shots here or there, and yeah, Zverev is winning that much anyway. But it doesn't mean that he's gonna like playing Taylor, who just literally bored him to death.
And anyway, are we going to be bored to death by Zverev-Fils? Maybe not. I think it could be entertaining. But yeah, I think Zverev has got the bit between his teeth. Even that Hamburg final that you referenced, by the way, there were, when I probably watched it, I remember having some thoughts during the first set about Zverev's level, and then thinking, okay, now he's up the level in the second set, and I think the third as well, and just waiting for Zverev to win that match in many respects, and it just never transpired. Then it was like maybe 6 months later, and then it's like, oh yeah, he had a really rough first set. I think the backhand was flying into the net on slightly unusual occasions, and maybe even on set point as well. And and I think he also was still having some injury issues there as well. And I think they were probably more noticeable at the beginning of the match than, funny enough, as the match developed. And he may even have highlighted that in press afterwards. So, given that there was only 1 or 2 points in it, that still probably should have gone Zverev's way, despite the spectacularness of the victory for Fils and all the other drama that happened that day. And yeah, I think a motivated Zverev wins this match.
I don't see like a really easy way to win for Fils after yesterday. Let's just say that.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's unfortunate because it could be a bit better. But my prediction for this match is that I'm not going to watch it because it will be the last match of the day, and I'm probably going to fall asleep during that because that's exactly what happened to me yesterday at Świątek-Svitolina.
By the way, Gene is optimistic about Mahac's chances should he play Zverev, and of course he also highlights the funny possible matchup between him and Fritz. Gene, thanks for joining us. Do hit that like button. I don't need to tell you to subscribe, but anybody else, of course, tuning in, please do so. You're going to get reminded again about that in a second. But I also want to just give you a quick reminder for those wondering why we are not talking about Djokovic and against Djokovic against Musetti and De Minaur against Berrettini, because we've already done that some time ago, and those videos are there out for you on YouTube. And I'm just going to share the link there, or share the image of it at the very least. So please do check out those videos and anything else that tickles your fancy. In the meantime, enjoy the round 4 men's action today. It's a bit of a manic Tuesday in some respects, I guess, because also we've got, I think, 2 quarterfinals on the women's side today, I think, and then the other 2 women's quarterfinals tomorrow. So a little bit tricky maybe to keep up with where we're at, but that's how it is in Miami. And for everybody else, you know the drill. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.